Good afternoon, everybody. This is Karen here. Long time no see. I haven't really posted many videos lately. Life's gotten in the way a little bit, but I'm back here today in my craft room because what I want to show you is how to make this cute little Halloween treat bag. It has a little handle, which is great for when you give it to people, as well as a Velcro dot to close it, so that they can take some treats out, eat them, and put them back. So let's get started. I'm just going to put this off here so we can see it. So supplies. What you're going to need is one piece of, basically it's going to be 6 inches by 10.5. This is 6 by 12. This is 6 by 10.5 paper. Then your other main piece of paper is going to be a 3-inch circle. Then we're going to add some embellishments. Got some ribbon here for the handle. I've got a 2.5-inch circle for the to go on our black circle. I've got a piece of 3-inch by 4-inch paper, a piece of 3-inch by 2.5-inch paper, a piece of 3-inch by 1.5-inch cardstock, a little bit of 3-inch piece of zip strip, and then I've got some embellishments here. So also you want to make sure, I've got a little piece here. This is about 3.5 inches by 1 inch for the sentiment. All of what I'm using today comes from the Boo Crew collection from Close to My Heart. I also have a Velcro dot. So that's my basic pieces. For tools, I'm just going to move this aside. So what you're going to need is you're going to need, of course, your trimmer and an optional scoring platform if you have it, or a scoring blade for your trimmer, a bone folder, pair of scissors, some 3D foam tape, which is optional. To cut my circles, I used the circles thin cut set from Close to My Heart, as well as some adhesive tape for putting together your box. In addition to that, I do use a hole punch. This is my handy dandy crocodile, which I've had for years, to punch the holes for my ribbon on my top. So I'll set this aside for now. And like I said, this paper comes from the Boo Crew stamp set from Close to My Heart, and my images that I've stamped from the Boo Crew stamp set with thin cuts. There's a lot of options in this, so you can put this and decorate this however you want. So to get started, I've already cut my paper, but basically, 6 inches by 10.5. I'm going to change out my cutting blade for my scoring blade. So my first score is going to be on my long side. I am going to score at 2 inches. And then I am going to score again on my short side. I'm going to score at 2 inches. I am going to score at 5 inches. Extend my arm here. I'm going to score at 7 inches, and then I'm going to score at 10 inches. So that's my scoring. And one thing I'm going to do ahead of time is I'm going to score this circle along the diagonal. So basically, this is a 3-inch circle, so I'm going to score this at 1.5 down the diagonal, down the diameter of the center. So I'm going to get my scoring platform out of the way, and I'm going to lightly use my bone folder on my scoring lines. But before I do that, one thing I'm going to do, so your 6-inch by 10.5-inch piece, first I'm going to cut off this little bottom right corner tab. We won't be needing that. And then I'm going to cut on the bottom up to the 2-inch score line to make the bottom tabs of my box. Put this away. And now I'm going to score each of my score lines. This comes together fairly easily once you've got it cut So basically, this is it. Now, what I'm going to do before I assemble my bag is I'm going to put the panels on the front and the back. So I need my pieces of cardstock here. And I like to use, so I'm going to flip them all over because I'm going to be using the front side. I like to use this tear tape that I've had for a while. I find this works best for my paper crafting projects. It has the most adherence to it. So what I'm going to do is just put it a few strips across the back of each piece. And then I will adhere these to the front and back panels of my box. Now for me, the front panel is always this panel here where I have nice folded sides and I don't have the tucked in tab. That's just my own personal preference. You can choose whichever one you want to be your front or your back panel. So right now, so this 3x4 piece is going to be on my back panel. Broke most of my nails, so it's a little tricky sometimes getting the paper cover off of my tape. So bear with me. Here we go. So this is my back panel. Just put this here. I'm going to put my cardstock first. Get this piece at the bottom of my front panel. And then I'm going to put my other piece of this Boo Crew pattern paper above it to the top. Slightly overlaps it, but that's the way I did cut my paper, just for coverage. And then I overlap the seam with my zip strip. So basically, front panels, back panels decorated. Now I'm going to assemble my box. So first thing I'm going to do is on the front side, I am going to put a piece of the tape on this tab, and then I'm going to flip it over to the back. And on the back of the left and right and front panels, I am going to put a piece of tape on my tabs, just like that. So I start to assemble it with my front tab. A little habit I have is I just will kind of fold it over, and then I will line up from the top, working my way down to the score line, gently adhere it. And then I often take my bone folder and go on the inside to just kind of run that folder along the score tape to just give it a good adherence. So when we do this along the bottom, what we're going to do is the back panel tab gets folded in first because that has no tape on it. Oops, it's a little stuck. So we're going to put this in, then left, right, and then front. So I'm going to take my covers off my tape, fold that extra in. I usually do it this way so that the front panel doesn't have any, the front of the box doesn't have any kind of extra sticking out. So I put my back panel in, and then just carefully so that it doesn't get out of kind of alignment. And then my left panel, and then my right, and then my front panel. And again, I will take my bone folder and run it along the inside. Sometimes I'll use the fat end to just kind of get a good adherence. So there's the base of my bag. Now, one thing I do, since I am going to be putting this circle over it to give it a closure, is I do a little pinch right in the center of each side and just give it a little bit of using your fingers. I'm not using any scoring platform. I'm just doing this with my fingers. That way it'll stay closed better and won't pop open. So there's my basic bag. And you could use this bag by itself, put a handle from the sides. I like the closure. That's just me. So what I'm going to do, I've already scored this. I'm going to take my circle And I'm going to adhere this to my larger circle. This is a 2.5-inch circle, and the front, the black is a 3-inch circle. I used the die cuts, the circle thin cuts dies. So let me just get this. Throwing all of my little strips of cover over on the side. It gets to be quite the little pile. And then I'm going to take this and just kind of align it in the center. And then just refold it just gently. Now, the reason I'm using my crocodile is I like how it kind of has the line up inches. So I'm going in about 3/4 of an inch on each side, because I want to have a little bit of center place for the handle. So it's a 3-inch circle, 3/4 of an inch. So you get about 1.25 inches or so once you've done it. So see, punched my holes. Now I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to thread it through the holes. Come on, just cooperate with me. Here we go. I hope everybody's enjoying a little bit of fall. I'm out here and standing in my craft room looking out over my backyard, which is starting to get quite leaf laden, as always. So now I've got my ribbon through, and you can see where it sticks in the back. What I'm going to do is I am going to take a couple small pieces of my paper tape to secure the ribbon. Down. So I'm just going to kind of fold this ribbon down, making a little kind of X on the back. And then on top of that, I'm going to put some more score tape. I probably put a little bit too much, but I do want a good adherence. So, and then this will get, so where I've brought the ribbon through will get covered up by when I adhere it to the back of the bag. So we're going to be adhering this half of the circle to the back of my bag. So I'm just going to kind of line this up by eye right there. And I'm going to just pressure adhere it. And there we go. So this will fold over. And then I'm going to take my Velcro dot. I like these ones are good because I do find that sometimes the thinner ones don't stay on. So I like to have the plastic circle, the loop side on the inside. So I put the Velcro, this is my habit. I put the Velcro dot together on the carrier sheet. Then I'm going to adhere that piece. And then I'm going to use my finger to pull off the back. Instead of trying to line it up by putting one piece on one side and the other piece on the other side and making sure it lines up, I do it this way so that it adheres and it's in the right spot. So now I'm going to fold this down and use some pressure. And I like to leave it without opening it for a bit to make sure that the Velcro dot is set. So there's the basic bag. And now you can adorn it with your sentiment and your stamped images. I used the thin 3D foam tape to add our ghost here, added a little witch's hat to him, and my little pumpkin. The stamp set has a lot of other images to it, so you've got a lot of options for how you can decorate this one yourself. You could just use, you've got some spiders, you've got bats, you've got a top hat. I think I'm going to do one version of this with the ghost with a top hat. We've got the broom, etc. And there's some other sentiments that'll go great on this. But this is my Halloween treat bag for 2021. And to those of you who are following me but are with my coworkers, because these will be coming to you on Halloween filled with a whole bunch of fun goodies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'll have the PDF of the written instructions will be up on my blog post with this, and you can download that for your own notes and everything. So I don't worry about having to write down these sizes. It's going to all be in the blog post as well as in the PDF of instructions. And thank you so much for joining me again. And I'm sorry I haven't been around in a little bit, but I hope to be doing more crafting as the weather gets cooler and I get to spend more time up here in my craft room. Thanks for joining me today. Bye, guys.